Welcome to These Nuts Garage. What we're going to be doing today in this video is we're going to be continuing to work on our camping / overlanding trailer. And what we need to do is start working on our bed to get rid of this nasty rust spot. Alrighty, like I said in that intro, we're going to be starting to try to work on this back corner of this trailer or this bed. And that's really the only major rust spot is right here, and then it kind of runs up through here. And as you can see, I've kind of hit it with a hammer just to kind of see how far out this rust spot goes. Now how we're going to be fixing it is with this patch panel. Now I could do a couple of different things with this. Is I could come in here and cut this panel out down here and then cut it through here, back around there, and then just section in a whole new piece. Weld it, do all of that. But I'm not going to do that because this trailer is going to be going through the woods and something could hit it later on. So why am I going to waste a lot of time and money on it? I'm already putting more money in, going to put more money into this trailer than I really want to, but I kind of like to have a nice trailer, and I don't want this rusty spot here causing me problems later on, you know, whatnot. So what I'm going to do is basically I'm just going to cut out, come through here where the good metal is still good, cut out all of this rust back into here somewhere, kind of come back up here at an angle, just cut that all the way out. I think I'm just going to pop this piece over it just like that. Come in here and clean up the metal back here and around where I'm gonna, basically I'm gonna kind of panel bond this to this part of the bed, just because I don't have a good enough welder to do any welding, you know, making it all fancy like. And like I said, it's gonna be going through the woods. So if I just cover this up, clean it up so I can use some panel bond to put this in there, and then maybe on the ends down here, I put in some rivets, maybe a couple of rivets across the bottom, and then when I turn this piece of metal back in, back here, maybe I'll put a couple of rivets back there, and they'll be hidden, and nobody will ever see them. And then right here, what I'll do, I think I'll just run a bead of seam sealer down through that, and be done with it. And then that way, all of this is kind of fresh metal, and when I paint it, you know, all that'll be there is just a little dab of seam sealer, and I don't have to worry about any, you know, messed up lines or dents that I'm trying to fix, and it'll save time. All right, like I said earlier, I had kind of beat on this with a hammer. You can kind of see it just punching through, and then down here. And I'm doing this to kind of see where I want to put my tape line so it's still strong. I'm just going to be using some masking tape to take this off, basically like this. What that's going to do is that's just going to, when I start running my grinding wheel through here, or cutting wheel, I'll just be able to use this as my cut line. Something like that right there. So I'll just cut all this out right through here, and then when I pop my new piece on, I'll have a little bit so I can grind this down right here and maybe put a big we'll say glob for the lack of a better word. Maybe it's some panel bond, so that way it'll stick to the back of that panel and keep it from flapping in there. Like I said, this is an off-roading trailer. It's gonna probably get tore up in the future anyway, so I'm not gonna waste a lot of time making it all pretty. So before you go commenting down below, this ain't how you do it, I know that. So we're gonna get the grinding wheel out and cut this, and we'll be right back. Alrighty, so before we get started, we're gonna be using some brand new pair of safety glasses. Make sure you wear safety glasses, and I'll probably put on a pair of gloves, maybe some, if I can find some, I may have some over here. But we're gonna be using the wheel of death, and I don't have a guard on it, so you really wanna be careful when you're doing this, so that way you don't cut your finger off, because it won't take much. I could put the guard on it real quick, but then I'm gonna be trying to do this, and I'll have to move it around, so it's kind of annoying, but it's a safety feature you probably should leave on your grinder. Alright, so now we got all this cut out, and you can see there's still some rust here and a little bit, rough edges. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my old flapper disc. Always keep these. This was originally like a, I don't know, 36 grit. Just throw it on the ground. So what I like to do is use these old ones to come through here around the edges and clean all this up. Take these little burrs out and I cut back the paint a little bit. And then I'll probably run up through this edge right here. Do the same thing, run that flapper disc around through here, try to clean up through this area here, so that way when I put my other piece up here, it's just fresh metal to fresh metal. And I'll probably come around the back side of this, run the flapper disc around the back edge of this right here, and all the way back around. And then I'll, once I get all that sanded down, we'll put our patch piece back up here and just kind of see how this edge is going to be, because the patch piece goes beyond that, and I guess you're supposed to kind of bend that back in somehow. And I would like to bend it in and get it as smooth as I can, but I really don't have the tools to really do that. But we're going to try our best to keep that, make that a really nice edge. I do have like a torch over there. I can heat that metal up really good and then kind of slowly bend it around this right here and try to get it to be a pretty nice fit. So let me put my grinding wheel back on and get my safety glasses on, and we'll start cleaning this up. All right, so I got this patch panel just kind of set up there. I've got some vice grips holding it in place right there, and I think I got one down at the bottom just to kind of hold it in its place that it needs to be in. And I need to put one right here, and I'm gonna try to put one here, because this is what I'm talking about. This panel is a little too long, as you can see, so I'm gonna have to tap this back around and overlap it like that. And then there is a little piece right here I think I'm gonna just cut out right there. And then I can put some seam sealer in it and then kind of grind it with the grinder to make it all smooth. So you can kind of see right here, it's kind of wanting to bulge out a little bit. So I'm gonna take a pair of vice grips and try to clamp it right there too. So that way it'll kind of conform to the bed that's, the metal that's already there. So I'm gonna put you back on time lapse real quick, and so I can try to get this kind of mostly worked out, and then I'll come back. Alrighty, so I got this corner kind of beat in. Like I said, I cut this edge off right here. And then I'm just gonna, when I fit this in there, I'm gonna clamp it. And then when I get done, I'll just put some seam sealer in there just to kind of keep water from getting in behind it. I mean, the tailgate's gonna be here, and it's, like I said, it's a camping trailer, so who really cares? Got all that beat back in. Kind of got it test fitted where it needs to be. And then, like I said, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go get some kind of body panel adhesive, and then I'm gonna glue this to it and then kind of put it in place. And then I'll come back, like I said, and put in some rivets, you know, a couple of key little spaces that, you know, nobody will ever really notice, and that'll kind of help hold it in place too. I'm just trying to keep from having to put any rivets across through here. And I may regret that later on, but my goal is not to have any rivets through here, but just put some seam sealer there. And maybe that'll hold it. I mean, this trailer is going to get used very seldom, but when we do use it, you know, at least it'll look halfway decent. Alrighty, let's hear those hateful comments. Put them down below, because I know they're coming. All right, so I got these two, you see, rivets kind of set there. I got it clamped. I'm just trying to get all my holes pre-drilled, so that way as I get ready to apply my panel bond, all of these rivets will be in place. I'm putting one right here to kind of suck this in, so that way it's a little bitty one, and it'll kind of hide behind the brake light. So I'm not really worried about it, but it's gonna suck that in right there. And I'm gonna panel bond all this anyway, but I'm just trying to get it to hold until that panel bond sets. And once that panel bond sets, I may remove that one, or I may just leave it. I'll probably just leave it. So I got 3 more here, and then I'm gonna put 2 more in the very bottom down here, but I don't think I'm going to put a lot of panel bond in this, because in case any water does get in there, maybe it'll find its way out through there, kind of leak out. But like I said, this isn't something that's going to be a show truck. It's just a trailer, so don't freak out on me. I've cleaned all my surfaces right here with some wax and, I guess it's wax and grease remover over here. I got this from the, yeah, wax and tar remover. That's what it is, that stuff. So I've wiped it all down right there with it. I've kind of did this little spot right there, so that way when I apply my panel bond, I'm gonna put a little right here too, so maybe they'll meet in the middle and it'll just kind of help hold it. Probably not, but I really don't care. So I've cleaned up all these edges around on the inside. Like I said, I didn't do the bottom because I want that to be able to water to drain out, so that'll give it a little protection. I may hit it with some more primer just to kind of put a layer, maybe some paint before I stick this on there. Of course, I've cleaned this up as well. Now what I'm gonna be using over here to do this is JB Weld. Yep, let those hateful comments fly. But I'm gonna be using this. It says it's vibration and impact resistant, protects from corrosion, cures in an hour, great for body panels, door jambs, floor pans, and more. Oh my goodness, it's good for more. So we're gonna be using that, like I said, and we're gonna have these rivets in it, so that's probably gonna keep it to where it's going to not move anywhere. If I do ever have a problem with this up here, all I gotta do is just come back and put some old rivets in it. So don't really care, it's just to go camping in. So I'm gonna mix this stuff up and apply this, and then I'll come back and kind of show you what else is going on with it. Woo-wee! Look at that hot mess. So this is supposed to be sandable. So I'll sand all that down. Like I said, I'm gonna come back in here on this line with a little bit of something, maybe feather that out. Maybe a little, not a lot. I'm not really too worried about it. And then, like I said, I got my 2 rivets in there. That'll probably hold pretty nicely. And it's got that seams, or this panel bond in there. Then we got this over here. 3 rivets down that. Don't really care, you'll never see them. You'll never see that one. And what that does is that just gives me the majority of this panel smooth, so it's easier to sand and scuff and shoot when I go to paint it. Now what I'm gonna do while this dries, I think I'm gonna get my drill and I'm gonna remove his pinstriping. Alrighty, so as you can see in the time-lapse video, I kind of started sanding on this, got this kind of knocked down a little bit, and I'll tell you that here in a minute, what's going on there. And of course, this is still tacky, so I'm just gonna let it sit probably for about the next week. By the time I come back, it'll be ready to kind of sand on and, you know, do a little touch-up work to it. And then over here, I just kind of was trying to clean up some of the edges right there. I guess where they had some sort of sticky stuff, or like, I guess if your tires throw rocks or something. There was something there that needed to come off. And then I took that pin striping off. Now I still have to do the other side, but I mean, it looks better than it did. And this right here is not a professional job, but you know, for what it is, it'll work out good. All right, so that's gonna be basically the end of the video, but before I let you go, I'm just gonna kind of cover some stuff real quick from when I was making that time-lapse video. Now you did see that I removed the pin striping off of the truck, and I did use this little rubber wheel. I think I got this off of Amazon. It says it's I don't know, some little eraser wheel that you can use to remove pin striping. So that brings it off pretty quick and easy. Then, you know, I kind of was checking this panel. This is still tacky, like I said. So I'm just going to wait about a week, and then when it gets done, I'll come through there and sand all that up. Kind of just start prepping it for paint. Now, when I was going over this bed, I did notice that I had some like bubbles of rust coming in from behind the paint. So I was like, well, let me take that flapper disc, and I started running over it, just trying to make sure that it wasn't all the way through. And for the most part, it's not all the way through, but I think when I come back and I start working on this over here, I think I'm gonna run over this with a little bit, maybe 80 grit or something, and then come back with the 220 and just kind of work it back up to about a 500 or 600 and kind of make that smooth again. Then I'll just hit it with some filler primer and then kind of sand it with about 500 or 600 grit paper. But I do need to put some etching primer on that before I do any of that, but I don't have any today. But what I do have is some of this Rust-Oleum rust converter. And what I'm gonna do is just spray this in there. Maybe if there is any rust in that, it'll kind of go in there and seal that up a little bit, and maybe convert that to a paintable surface like it says. But, you know, I'm gonna just do that, and then when I come back, like I said, I'll kind of fix this to where it's ready to be painted. Now this does concern me. I'll check the other side when I do that other side, but if this is gonna start getting a lot of rust in it, it kind of makes me worried to spend the kind of money that I want to have this bed painted to match the truck, when I'm afraid, well, this may just start, you know, rotting out. Now, I guess something that I could do later on if I wanted to, since this will have like 33-inch tires on it, I could always come back with some fender flares, kind of flare that out a little bit if it ever did bubbling up. So that's one way to fix it if it did start showing up in the future. Now, I still need to go over the truck with, like I said, 500 or 600 grit paper to get it ready to be paintable. Now, what I'm going to do inside of this area here is I'm going to take this little door off, and I'm going to paint the inside. When they paint this, I'm going to clean all this up, just have them paint the door. But this will be black in here, so when it's all painted, I'll run me some masking tape around this, cover it up, just hit it with some black paint, because this is going to be where I'm either going to have a freshwater fill tank, or maybe I'll put like a retractable hose. I don't really know, but this is going to have something to do with my freshwater tank. Now, that's going to be basically it. In the next video, I'm not going to show too much on the body work. I'm going to, probably the next video on this trailer will be the frame, having all that stuff welded up and, you know, ready to be towed behind the truck. I'll kind of go ahead and do all this body work, because I'm not a professional body guy, and I'm not trying to tell you how to do it. So I'll probably just do all this off camera, and then when I'm ready to go have it painted, I'll show you what color we're going to pick and how it's going to be painted and who's going to paint it. I haven't determined that yet. So that's going to be the end of the video. And if you like the video, give it a big thumbs up, comment down below, share the video with your friends and neighbors, and subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. And that's going to be it. Y'all have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next video.